Hi, everybody. Week one has led to some fascinating conversations. I appreciate all the effort that everybody's putting in to our discussions and learning from each other's experiences. Our conversation was focused on Vygotsky and Piaget this week. Uh, we've got a lot of different experiences in our class that have actually had experience with Piaget and Vygotsky and their different ways of learning and things like that. So I appreciate everyone's input on that and expertise now. Now we're all experts on Vygotsky and Piaget. So I appreciate that. And the biggest thing I want everybody to take away from this is something useful from it, something that you can apply at home or at work. So that's kind of the key that we want to do every week. We want to be able to take this stuff and apply it. So Vygotsky is applied quite often with the zone of proximal development, scaffolding, Piaget. You constantly hear Piaget all the time about his different stages of development. So just see where you can apply that, how you can apply that, and let's move on to week two. Unit 2 resources. Click that. Here we go. We're going to have, we're going to be looking basically at perceptions. And perceptions, how to perceive, perspectives, whatever you may want to call it. It's going to be very interesting today, or this week, I should say, because what we have is we have our case study. We're going to be working on that. It's going to be due. Signature assignment's going to be due towards the end. And then this week, we're going to have our reflection paper. It's going to be due on Monday, not this Monday today, but the following Monday it's going to be due. And here is an overview of the assignment for the reflection paper. You have to watch this video, the American Justice Child's Play, Deadly Play. And then the key here is you have to take on a perspective on either Tate's mother, the victim's mother, Tate's attorney, or the prosecutors. And then, so you have to reflect on the case from one of those perspectives. So as we get into our discussions, we're going to dig deeper and deeper into perspectives, but you want to be able to try to put yourself in their place. And that sometimes can be very difficult to do. So it may be a good opportunity to try something that maybe you disagree with, but you can get a greater understanding by putting yourself in their shoes. Doesn't mean that you're going to end up agreeing. It just means that you have an understanding of the opposite side. And when you have an understanding of the opposite side, doesn't mean that you have to agree with it either. So just keep that in mind. It's good to kind of go out and do that and kind of take another side and just see that perspective. So, and then you have to give a reaction or response to the court case judgment rendered from the perspective of the same person you chose to reflect upon the case in itself. So if you're Tate's mother, initially you have to be Tate's mother reacting to the response of the court case. So choose one of the three and give an overall perspective of the case, and then give your reaction from that same person. So you're trying to basically be in their situation. 800 words, APA formatting. There's a great APA template over here if you would like to use that. APA is important. I'll give feedback on APA, even though sometimes I won't take points off. So as I give feedback with APA, sometimes it's just helpful feedback because it can be an interesting feature in our writing. But I know that as master graduate students, you're probably very familiar with APA. So I appreciate all the effort that you put into that. Okay, so that's our reflection paper. And then our case study is coming up in week 4. That is a brief overview of the case, consider the biopsychosocial factors surrounding the case, and then you basically go through those questions / statements, and then we reflect. And remember, we're looking at perspective. So, and you're going to reflect back on it. So this one's going to be, you're going to have a minimum of 3 citations. So other than the video, so our textbooks, you're going to have to cite them. Word count 1200, APA formatting as well. So remember, feel free to go ahead and use this fantastic APA template right here to help anything out. In our conversations this week, I won't got too far away, so our conversations this week is going to be right here, and this one's going to be interesting because we're doing the same video. We're going to look at that, but we're going to respond to what role does culture play in influencing perception. And if we think back to Vygotsky or Piaget, they both kind of hinted at the culture, like especially Vygotsky, where it was social. So the social piece was in there. That plays huge to how our culture influences our perception. So it's going to be a good conversation to have. And even if we don't agree with one another, what we're doing is we're gaining perspective. And when we gain perspective, we grow. And when we give our perspective, the other person grows if they're willing to accept that perspective. Does not mean we have to agree, but it does mean that we need to understand one another's perspective, because that's how we grow, and that's how our field as well of psychology grows, because the more perspectives that we have, the more people we can help. So you have to be open to different perspectives so we can help a larger number of people, because that's what it's about. So let's have another fantastic week. I thank you for all the effort that you put in, and I'll see you on the discussion boards.